Hello and welcome to Hawk Talk, which today comes to you from the Swiss Alps. I'm joking, we're actually at Utility Bowl and it's actually very mild for this time of year as well. Look at it, glorious. Anyway, welcome along to Hawk Talk, where we're going to dissect everything that happened for the Hawks as they took on the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Wasn't to be for Hampshire, but still very much in with a chance of qualifying for the final come Friday. So we're going to have our two panellists on to discuss it all over the course of the next 15 minutes or so. This is a cricket ball, here we go.
That one stayed down and will be the first boundary of the evening. Wicket goes wide along off. That's a terrific stroke. Does that one beat mid on? It does.
Attacks the captain. Imran Tahir has been put away. Goes straight down the wicket and he keeps piling them on. 6 more. 50 up and it's the second 50.
That's caught. Yes, man.
So the deception comes from the senior. Feel you might just be able to defend. That'll give them a bit more hope. That'll get them a little closer.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Right decision made. That's a maximum. On the ground, not clean enough to get a boundary, but will produce 2 runs. So
top edge, keeper gone. Oh, what a catch! What a catch! It had to be that way to dismiss a man in form.
It's edged and given. The youngster.
got under it, but not strong enough.
Oh!
Might look for 2. Might get 4. Wow. Oh, he's gone all the way this time on the onside.
Underwood's long on. Oh, it's gone all the way. What power. And that'll do it. They're not leaving the ground tonight, the fans of the Guyana Amazon Warriors. They'll stick around and have a lime and a party for sure, because that has been...
Yep, confirmation then. Hampshire put into bat, making 146 for 6. Thanks once again to Shan Masood's second half century of the tournament. A quick fire cameo at the back end from Toby Albert as well. But it wasn't to be for the Hawks. Guyana Amazon Warriors getting home with 10 balls to spare, despite a couple of wickets apiece for Benny Howe and James Fuller. Hawks still, though, in with a chance at time of recording this of going through to the final on Friday. Final game, of course, is against Victoria on Thursday. And to dissect it all, once again joined by Scott Curry and Matt Funnell. Gents, nice to see you. Scott, was that one of those games where, as a player, you have to put your hand up and say, you know what, fair play, we were outplayed?
Probably a little bit, mate, yeah. I think the lads had the cards marked on this one pretty early. That we knew this was going to be one of the tougher tests, that they're a pretty well-established outfit. And, yeah, they dealt with us pretty swiftly, but the lads will take a lot from it, no doubt. There's always learnings to be had when you lose. So hopefully some good conversations have been had and they move on to the last group game.
Yeah, we'll get on to some of those performers a little later on. Matt, from your perspective, I know we were talking throughout that first innings and it looked like Hampshire posted a decent score with 146 because we were looking at par of maybe 130-ish.
Yeah, maybe a little bit higher, maybe 135. It did look tricky. It actually looked a little bit more tricky up top than it has done in previous games. It might have just been that used wicket had been used obviously in the afternoon as well with the 2 games. And then with the lights coming onto it, it might have just slipped on a bit. So yeah, definitely looked like there was more in it for the seamers up top, which was probably tricky for us to get some away. But then it was still turning in the middle. So I actually thought we were looking pretty good at 145, but no, it wasn't to be.
Yeah, 146 for 6 in the end for Hampshire. One of the contributors at the back end of the innings was Toby Albert, making a quick 20, and he spoke to Kevin James after the match.
Well, Toby, it must be a little bit disappointed. It was a game that threatened to get close. It didn't quite get close at the end, did it?
No, it didn't. It's been hard chasing in these games.
Saying that, I reckon this wicket was the best one we've played on so far, definitely. We've played one night game, one day game. This was our second night game, and that was definitely the best wicket, but it still wasn't easy. It was very low as usual.
You always need tight overs at the end, but the third to last over it went for 19 was a bit of a killer, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've got good batters and good hitters at the end there, and they had a day out at the end of the day.
They've got a lot of players in their side that have come off the recent white ball series against England.
Yeah, they're a good side. They're probably on paper the strongest side in the comp, and they're going to take some beating. I know Victoria did, but no, they'll be good.
146 for 6. How was the feeling there?
Pretty happy at half time, I think. Shan played beautifully the whole way through, as he did the other night as well. And we were always talking about getting to 140, and if you get a little bit more at the end with a couple of boundaries, then you do, but making sure we don't bottle it out and get 120. So we were just trying to make sure we get 135, 140, and we ended up getting a couple more.
Yeah, Toby Albert, one of the contributors with the bat, and Shan Masood, yeah, again with a second half century in the tournament. He made 79 from 54 balls. Matt Funnell, what makes him so good?
Yeah, I think it's just everything that we said about him just a few days ago. Yeah, he rotates strikes so well. He picks key moments and key matchups that he knows he can take down, like that over against Ross and Chase in the power play. He just spots situations so brilliantly, and you know, his senior leadership, although he hasn't been around the group very long, is crucial. I mean, he's near enough when he's batting out there, sort of setting the past score. You can say people batting round him, he's taking the game deep. And I think the reason we got to a score of 146 was because of him. So, yeah, he played straight bat shots very well. I don't think he played a single sweep shot all day, which was, you know, what we've been talking about a lot, like playing with a straight bat a long time. Yeah, slightly because he's so good at it. He might have gone to the reverse sweep a couple of times later on in his innings, but when you're so good at it, it is a surprise that he doesn't go to it. But, you know, he was playing down the ground so brilliantly that even that over in the power play against Ross and Chase, he's hitting over extra cover beautifully. So, no, brilliant innings. I can't imagine there'll be too many better than that in the competition.
Let's get into the second innings then. Sonny Baker, we mentioned he's one of the most exciting talents in this Hawks squad. 1 for 23 with the ball. A little bit more control this time around, Scott?
We spoke about it the other day, didn't we, that we felt he was going to grow into the comp as it went on. He obviously got his first wicket in the previous game, and that would have done his confidence a world of good with his first ball. It's evident that his pace was up throughout. I think not a ball below 140 will please him, definitely. I know he loves his speed, so that'll be good. And it's good for him to prove that he could come back across the innings and bowl his four for the first time with great control, as you said. So on a personal level, he'll be very pleased. Obviously a shame that we couldn't quite get over the line, but good strides made by him, definitely.
Well, it wasn't Ali Orr's day with the bat, though we did pull off this in the field. What a spectacular catch, diving to his right-hand side. Scott, what makes this such a good catch?
Yeah, well, firstly, a pretty pivotal point in the game. And secondly, I think it's an interesting one because he's quite close at mid-wicket. What it being Shai Hope's first ball, they'd look to squeeze the new man. It's not travelled to him overly quickly, but he's got himself in a really strong position. If you slow it down, you see his head's in a really good position, and he dives away almost like goalkeeper style. And they're never easy to know whether you go one hand, two hand, whatever. But as I say, incredibly pivotal moment in the game.
Is that the key then when taking a catch like that, is having your head still?
I'd say so, definitely. I think it's the heaviest part of your body, and it's the one that's likely to move the most. You see with batters, a lot of people talk about the head gets them out of trouble if the feet aren't quite as sharp, and the same can largely be said for fielding. It can almost be irrelevant at times where your base is, because you might be on the floor, you might be on your feet, whatever. As long as you keep your head and your eyes still and towards the ball, which Ali did there, you've got every chance of taking a catch.
Couple of questions that have come in from the audience. You can, of course, get in touch anytime at Hans Cricket on socials. Let's come to you with this one, Matt. Jason asks, are we seeing the pitches become better to bat on as the tournament goes on? And if so, why?
No, I don't think so. It's all completely dependent on the wicket that's being used. I think there's 6 wickets in total at the ground that have been prepared for this tournament. So it's completely dependent. You know, the first game on the wicket might be much easier to bat. It might get harder. Might get easier depending on if it's under lights like we saw last night. It was reasonably tough in the afternoon and then actually got better in the evening. So it's completely dependent on what wicket's being used, but scores have been so fluctuating. I don't think I could confidently say that it's been easier to bat.
Well, we've got some cricket questions that have come in and some very non-cricket questions. Scott, let's come to you with this from Harvey, who asks, who in the Hampshire changing room would you most trust to fly a plane and who would you least trust?
That's a good question, firstly. Wow.
You've got to have someone with some real authority
Yeah.
about them, bit of composure,
Wow.
Rather you than me.
and a good voice.
Most trust, I'd say Joe Weatherly.
Right.
He's a calming influence, I think. He's got like older brother vibes to him. So I'd trust him to fly the plane. Least trust, pretty easy one. I think it has to be Tom Prest. He'll hate me for saying that, but I wouldn't trust Presty with much, let alone tasking him with flying a plane.
It's a big job. I think Joe as well would have a good voice for it, wouldn't he? He'd be able to do the ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this flight A375 non-stop to Stockholm.
Brilliant.
Good. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Good.
Brilliant.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much indeed to Harvey and to Jason for those at Hans Cricket. Anytime if you want to get in touch. Big thank you to Scott and to Matt as well. We'll be back for the preview of the Hawks' final group game in their Global Super League campaign. That is Victoria, of course, on Thursday afternoon, a 2 o'clock start UK time. So we'll be back to preview that in the next day or so. Speak soon.